Okay, we're back. We're gonna watch Super Metroid: The A Button Challenge by Freyasspirit. This is where they're gonna, I believe this is where they're gonna press the A button and never release it for the whole run. Is that correct?
Yep. Jump is
Awesome.
going to be held for the entire run.
I'm really looking forward to this. Yeah, take it away, Freyasspirit.
Awesome. So this is the A button challenge. We are going to be pressing A and we wrote a hack which just holds jump for the entire run, and that is going to be the run. And let's see how the movement looks there. So and we have starisms and commentary.
Hi everyone. So this is a really interesting hack or run even, that was inspired by Mario 64's half A. I'm not sure what to call it, theorizing, I guess, there about how many times it takes to press A, how many times you press A to finish Mario 64, but it quickly became how few times can you do it, and ended up being just a half A press with a task, I think. And so now, but Super Metroid actually has a mechanic that makes that a little bit easier here for players to do, and that while jump is being held and you're standing still on the ground, when you press back, you will jump. It's a buffered back jump is what we call it. And so the only way Freyas can jump is by doing a backwards full height jump. Tricks like the mock ball, which you'll see almost in every other speedrun of Super Metroid, are not possible here. Mock balls require that you jump, release jump, and then hold it again for specific timing, and that's just not possible. Wall jumps will not be possible. Shine sparks are going to be very tricky or very easy. Sideways ones are not going to be a thing we'll see today, even though they are possible with some really tricky maneuvering. The diagonal ones are going to be very easy. Another part of this is that the routing that Frizz is going to take for safeties is going to actually be a very good newcomer to Super Metroid speedrunning routes.
Yep. So in Super Mario 64, the task community once upon a time wanted to started seeing how few A presses they need to beat Mario 64, and over time they brought it down to just one, which was wonderful to watch. And so we asked the same question in Super Metroid, and we got this idea when we were watching the Twitch play Super Metroid, and the way that they were jumping was by back buffering all of our jumps, and through that we learned how to use that mechanic well, and decided to do a run of this. And we made a hack of it, and it's been a lot of fun, and we're super happy to show it off here.
What would you say is the most challenging room that you've had to learn for this, other than Colosseum?
There's a sand hall after Plasma that's also instant death pit. So there's a couple rooms in Meridia with sand that are just instant death pits in this.
Which of the bosses was the hardest one for you to adjust to this always jump mechanic?
Kraid for sure. There's no Kraid. It's basically impossible for us to get the Kraid quick kill. We might be able to get it if we practiced it a ton, but that's not something that we want to spend hours and hours and hours grinding out.
Yes, and you can't control your jump height there, and you can't just jump straight up. That I can see definitely how that would become so problematic. So again, wall jumps are definitely something we will not be seeing. That also means that space jump is a pointless item. You can't press A again, you can't jump again. So space jump has no use whatsoever. And if there's anything, any donations or anything you need to plug Tuesday while Freeze is working their way back up, it'd be a good slow time.
Sure. I'll let folks know about the charity that we're supporting today. We are supporting the Trevor Project, an American nonprofit organization that focuses on suicide prevention efforts among lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning people under 25 years old. It operates the Trevor Lifeline, a confidential service that offers trained counselors through a toll-free phone number. The Trevor Project is committed to producing research that brings new knowledge and clinical implications to the field of suicidology, and also advocates for laws and policies that will reduce suicide among LGBTQ plus young people. We're delighted to support this invaluable, life-affirming organization. You can donate toward a number of incentives that we have, or just donate in general without any of the incentives. Current incentives include Uki mode, that's monkey noises, in Tetris the Grandmaster, as well as Ditch or Save Yoshi in Grand Poo World 2. We're going to have a couple other incentives later on. As well, if our overall amount of money raised reaches $7,680, we're going to have a bonus stream later on where Dijon Ketchup learns how to play Final Fantasy IV Quality of Life Hack.
So you can, if any of you have watched Super Metroid runs before, specifically like any percent, 100%, some of the main categories, you're used to seeing that room that Frey's just finished has a room done much more quickly because people will either just wall jump almost directly up one side, or because they can control the jump, the height of their jump, they do ledge grabs and just make their way up that room very quickly. But since we have to take full jumps every time and we have to plan out each jump ahead of time by doing that whole back buffered jump thing, then it makes that room a lot slower just because of the air time. And Bomb Trizo, first mini boss, is just about to come in. A lot of people would, if you're using Moonwalk, you can just, while holding shot, move backwards. You can get yourself into these specific safe positions where you won't be hit. That's a lot harder here because Moonwalk is not a thing. Well, it's no point in using it because when you press backwards, you're going to jump.
So Moonwalk, the specific reason why we don't use Moonwalk is because Moonwalk is enabled, then you cannot pseudo screw at all. And that's really important in certain places.
That is also important. Yeah, I didn't think to mention that.
Moonwalk would be incredibly useful if we could also pseudo screw, but we're not willing to give up pseudo screwing just to use Moonwalk. So that's definitely a trade-off that we have to choose.
That's a fair trade-off. We can see how pseudo screw would be much more important in this run than moonwalking, because you already don't have a whole lot of fine control over your movement, specifically when moving backwards.
So we haven't actually tested it, but we suspect that you would be able to still moonfall in this.
With Moonwalk, one of the things that most people do to turn around a lot of the times is crouch, specifically in boss fights where they're holding charge and waiting for their shot to line up. So with the half A press, can you turn around by crouching?
Yes.
The same way? Okay.
And you can also turn around by holding L or R, which is how we're going to be doing a lot of turnarounds.
So, again, another divergence from your typical categories where the mock ball being the first real speed trick used to get supers much earlier. Well, can't really do the mock ball, as we talked about before, so we're just going to skip that room. No mock ball, no early supers. Instead, we get to see Spore Spawn. That's the first intended supers in the game.
And it's very difficult to actually go this way muscle memory wise. In practice, we absolutely just muscle memory straight into early supers, and had to farm up extra missiles.
So Spore Spawn's going to come with its own unique challenges, considering this. Because you're only going to have 5 maximum missiles, which is not too bad, because you're going to get plenty of missile drops while fighting. It's the jump that's the problem, because again, you can't control your jump height. So getting more than 1 or 2 missiles into force spawn per round is going to be a little bit of a challenge. And the routing here, again, is also, I think we mentioned this before, but it's a very good newcomer-friendly route, because you can't do a lot of the wall jumps, you can't do a lot of the mock balls, so you can't get quite everything that speedrunners normally get. We're going to get Ice Beam early to help with the Red Tower climb. Otherwise, that would be very difficult. Pretty sure you would have to bomb jump it, and if you mess up even once, the distance you have to bomb jump is going to be ridiculously much more every time you mess it up. We're going to be getting Grapple Beam early to help us get across the moat and the ocean and a few other areas.
Grapple Beam is actually incredibly useful in this category, because you cannot Zebetite skip at the end without grapple. So grapple actually saves a huge amount of ammo collecting, which is fascinating, because this is probably the single category where grapple is the most useful out of all of them.
Now, we watched the VOD of your hotfix run just to see that, and it actually happened so fast, we barely got to see it. So here's hoping we can get a better view this time. Just in case anyone is new and not quite sure, yeah, this is a run using a hat drum so that the A button is always pressed. That means all of the jumps you see happen are back buffer jumps, where Freya has to press back in order to jump while being on the ground. So all of the jumps are going to either kill all forward momentum or only be backwards momentum. Also, because we can't press jump again, Shine Sparks are going to be tricky, wall jumps are going to be tricky. Actually, wall jumps are impossible. Places where wall jumps are necessary, or a single wall jump is used in speedruns, we're just going to infinite bomb jump.
So the question in chat about whether turbo would be good at the same as holding A? Absolutely not. Turbo would result in just a bunch of tiny jumps. And and because of that, we really doubt that it would be possible to jump at all and make it out of series. And with turbo always held.
Yeah, you'd be doing nothing but tiny little spin hops, and probably not even actually seeing the spin, depending on how fast your turbo was.
So just to clarify, ordinarily when you're not doing the A button challenge, you press A to jump. In this game, in this version, in the A button challenge where the A button is pressed and never released, you can jump, but using what again?
A back buffered jump?
Yeah, so if you're standing on the ground and have jump held and you hit back, you will jump.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And that is what makes this possible at all. Without that, this would just be impossible.
So you can jump backwards, but not forwards.
Yep. Luckily, in spin jump, you can just you can instantly turn around and be good there.
Yeah, so this is not one A button press per room. It is one A button press to start the game, and then always held for the rest of the game. And you know, if you're familiar with some of the other speedruns of this game, you're going to see rooms where wall jumps are a primarily used mechanic. You're actually going to see infinite bomb jumps. Instead, you're going to see us work around it in a different way. Bubble Mountain is a really good room for that. Oh, that was a really good jump there, Freya's. In this room with the bats in the water, you know, you have to line yourself up really close. That jump is just if you're not perfectly lined up anyway, it's going to be hard to make that jump. So now Freya is just trying to use the jump into an infinite bomb jump to get up and get Spazer a little bit earlier. Save a little bit of backtracking instead of getting high jump first. And you're going to see these jumps right here, where jumping into an infinite bomb jump a lot more throughout this run than you would in a lot of other places.
This will be way easier once we get high jump. We're actually just going to skip this and try to not mess up grade.
So a lot of times speedrunners go right, they'll go directly right, go straight to Kraid without high jump. That's going to make Kraid a lot harder if we do that. Is the entry to Kraid even possible without high jump in this mode?
Bomb jump.
Oh, well, that's true. I wasn't thinking. I'm so not used to thinking of bomb jump as a way to get places. But yeah. Also, when you get into Kraid's room, it's really hard to get up on the platforms where you can shoot Kraid from without high jump. You would have to land on one of the claw platforms going across, and with enough time to get another jump off up towards that. Good timing. That room is really hard in this category. Getting that little enemy killed before it gets too far away from you, so that the door is unlocked when we go back in later.
So now we have to remember that we're not supposed to go to Bubble Mountain yet. We're not supposed to go through the heated rooms. We have to actually go to Kraid first.
Yeah, any percent and probably 100% muscle memory would have you go from this room directly to a heated room. Well, not directly, but you know, the routing, you would just muscle memory right into that door that you're going to pass instead here. There's also going to be a lot more E-tanks, a lot more missiles that you would get than you would normally get. You know, just because they're in the way and it's harder to avoid them rather than not, or the E-tanks because for safety, with the lack of fine movement, you're going to take a lot more damage.
E-tanks are the really, really important one.
And that's another reason why this is a really good beginner-friendly route.
So the route that we're going to be showing off, we think would actually be a not terrible route for somebody doing for somebody who's just doing their first playthrough, but doing it with a guide. Just somebody trying to do a speed walk. Very casual speed walk.
Yeah, it gets a lot of the safeties that is actually recommended for new players too, such as early ice. And we will be seeing that before too long.
So because we skipped Spazer, we need to be really careful not to miss any of our ammo. Because Spazer will double the damage that the beams will do. And we're not even going to go for the quick kill, especially after skipping the Spazer. Because that's just a recipe for pain. Because we end up in this phase anyway. Only without our ammo.
Fighting Kraid in this way is kind of awkward, even when you have fun control.
There we go.
One boss down.
That is a very dead Kraid. And right now we are 16 seconds ahead of the world record. We'll see if we can keep that up.
So, fun fact, what is the world record?
127, 40, 54. According to our splits. And you can still deboost in this, which is really cool.
I imagine that in some places it makes deboosting easier and harder at the same time because of the momentum. Anytime you jump, you're always going to immediately have backward momentum. But since A is always being held, you're going to have a lot more accidental deboost too, I would think.
Probably. So this is the first safety? One that we would recommend everybody gets when they're learning the game.
You call this one a safety, but a lot of 80% runners still in their low 50s will pick that up. Maybe even upper 40s still pick that up. So
yes, that is definitely one of the last safeties to drop. We would not recommend it. We'd recommend that everybody above that doesn't have a sub 50 yet grab that E-tank.
It's a 30-second time loss to get that E-tank versus not getting it, but that whole extra E-tank provides a lot of a cushion throughout the rest of the run, because like Freya's and some of their 80% PB attempts will be skipping that and only having 3 E-tanks for the whole game. That leaves very little wiggle room on the health. Pretty soon we'll be in Bubble Mountain, which is one of the first rooms where wall jumps would make the room so much easier and so much faster. But Freya's is going to have to clear out the waivers that fly around, and it's a fairly predictable pattern, but they're going to be all back and forth in the way that Freya's needs to go while bomb jumping, and a single hit while bomb jumping would ruin the bomb jump. So we're going to take they're going to take time. They're going to kill the enemies that are going to be in the way, and then they're going to do a bomb jump again, which you'll have better luck this time because you don't actually have to do it from a jumping position. You can actually just drop to a morph ball and start from the ground if you need to.
Wow, we killed those way faster than we expected. We had forgotten how useful Spazer would have been here, but we got lucky and got away with it.
Good timing on the shots.
So having high jump here makes this thing so much easier.
Yeah, there's a lot more room between when you can morph and when you have to lay the bomb because you have so much more vertical height. That was, what, second try? Or at least getting it started.
First try every time.
Okay, we're gonna take the blame for that. We jinxed you.
No, we tried to get boosted diagonally, but we ended up getting hit straight up, which is bad. We think next time the trick is to lay a bomb while trying to do that.
The next notable room differencing we're going to see is very similar to this in the room just before waving, where speedrunners normally just make a forward jump with a lot of momentum from their run speed, and then into a wall jump into a wave room, but with this one, we're not going to be able to transfer all of that forward momentum into a jump. And we're not going to be able to wall jump either. So Freya's is going to have to land on spikes, then do the jump into a bomb jump. And every time that they fall back down is going to be more damage.
And the spikes are the fun part. In practice a couple days ago, we definitely died trying to do that. So we're gonna have to take it. So we're gonna definitely play it safe so we don't die here.
Because every time you hit the spikes, you're going to get moved. Your positioning is going to change. And if your fingers are on the D-pad a little bit too early or a little bit too late, you're going to end up in a D-boost instead. So it's really the positioning is going to be really fickle a lot here, and it's going to have to be done really quickly to get back up into the air before the spikes hit again, before the iframes run out. Not to mention these platforms here where a lot of people accidentally KO. Okay, nice job. Those jumps are really precise, and falling down is, you got to go out of the room, you got to go around, you got to come back up.
Looks like we got it.
Looks like it. You got it. Got it. Let's go. Good job. So, to people who haven't played much Super Metroid, you may not have been able to tell there, but that deboosting or just the boosting from taking damage, not the actual deboosting itself, really messes with your position and takes up valuable iframe time. So the next major stop here will be Crocomire. We're gonna go through Crocomire. Then we're gonna get Grapple, and on the way out, use Grapple to get over to the Crocky tank. And in some 80%, well, I don't think, are there any 80% runs that do Grapple instead of Ice early like that? I guess just in newbie terms, I'd only recommend Ice, not getting Grapple.
Yeah, the only runs that would do that are like people who don't have sub-hour yet, who haven't figured out who can't do horizontal shine sparks yet.
That's a valid point. The Crocomire itself will not really be a very different fight. It's not gonna look like anything other than your regular Crocomire fight. So if you want to jump in Tuesday with something, feel free.
Sure. We received a donation of $5 from Seraph, who said, "Whoops, I accidentally a bad word. Swear jar deposit for my potty mouth. Hashtag ReboShark." And that donation went toward both enabling Uki mode in Tetris the Grandmaster and saving Yoshi in Grand Poo World 2.
Nice little double jump there, Seraph, on the donations. Also, shout out to Seraph for putting that ReboShark together with not really having the context of what ReboShark was.
Yeah, it turned out
really
so good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching. I was watching to the very last minute, even though I was supposed to be ready here.
So normally we would grab the E-Tank beforehand, but without wall jumps we can't. So we have to grab it after, and we have to remember to grab it after. If we had remembered to grab that E-Tank previously, the world record would definitely be lower.
I actually have another quick thing to say, if that's all right.
Yep.
This is actually the end of my hosting shift. I'm Must Be Tuesday Music, and your next host is going to be Margaret Ann. Hi, Margaret Ann.
Hi. One sec. Is it working?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it was telling me it wasn't. So, hi everyone. Glad to be here.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Good luck with the rest of the run, Freyas.
Thank you.
Bye, Tuesday.
Bye.
Goodbye.
We're not far from a room where the and like 100% where you would absolutely go get grapple around this stage of the game. We call it the Indiana Jones room. We think there's a few other rooms for it, but usually you're going to see people just speed boost and then jump and do a they're going to clear out these bombs, and then they're going to run along this path to get a lot of extra speed from the speed booster and just jump. But we can't carry that forward momentum from running again in this, because the only way to jump is by pressing back and killing all of that momentum. So Freyas has to go over onto these platforms that will sink if they stay on them for too long, and get one of those backward jumps into a bomb jump again, and right away, good job.
And this is grapple beam. This will get us across the moat and help us with zip skip. And that's about it. It's pretty much useless other than that.
It'll help with the ocean as well.
Oh, it'll help with the ocean, yes. Unfortunately, if you're grappling, you can't actually do grapple wall jumps out of it. So that means that Coliseum, we're going to have to be doing more of these bomb jumps with instant death pits beneath us.
The sand pits aren't quite instant death if you fall in, but if you sink in, then very nearly instant death.
It is instant death in this. It just straight up is instant death.
No, if you sink in, because we've seen you land on the sand.
Yeah, if you sink in, it's definitely instant death.
Yeah. So it's not quite falling and having to jump again on the sand that will get you, but if you linger for, just a few frames, it's going to sink in, and because you can't rapidly press jump, you're not going to be able to get out.
Doesn't sound dangerous at all.
Part of the fun of the run.
Instant death risk for a little bit of the adrenaline.
The next major item is, do not forget the Crocomire E-Tank.
Thank you. We would have forgotten the Crocomire E-Tank.
And then after that, I believe the next thing you're going to head to is ice, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
ice is going to let Freyas climb up the red tower, where the only other way that it would really be possible is to kill the rippers that move back and forth so that they don't hit you and knock you out of the way, and then infinite bomb jump up really big heights, not once but twice.
So the problem is the block respawns. So that that trick basically has become Super Metroid Impossible level, a Super Metroid Impossible trick.
Well, we've seen people who, while infinite bomb jumping, switch to power bombs, lay a power bomb as part of the infinite bomb jump, and switch back to regular bombs to break things around them and continue the bomb jump. I don't know how difficult that is myself, but I mean, it looks like it's difficult because the lag would change the timing entirely.
Pretty straightforward. We could definitely do that. We didn't think about that at all. We don't need to think about that because we're gonna get ice.
Ice will also increase your damage output for boss fights.
Very slightly. Ice itself is a 20% DPS increase. Ice and Spacer together will do double the damage of this.
Ice can also be a little bit of a hindrance in some places where you don't want to freeze enemies where you would normally one-shot them. And the jump that you just did there in the room before ice was flawless. That looks like it's a really hard jump, and you just made it look super easy. What makes it a hard jump is the whole back buffer jump thing that we keep talking about, where your jump height is maximum, and you have to start the jump with backwards momentum. Sometimes Freyas is able to change that momentum so quick you don't really notice the backwards momentum, or sometimes they just change so that the backwards momentum is the way they want to go. We're not very far from the Red Tower climb. There's a few rooms in between that we've already been through. If you want to kick in something, Margaret Ann?
I can talk about one of the reasons why we're here. We are, or Rather, I'd like to say welcome to the Undefined Behavior, a showcase and speedrunning marathon centered around queering games and queerness in games. For this marathon, we're exploring glitchy, unusual, and marathon-unsafe runs, as well as adjacent and related queer gaming content. We queer games when we reject limits and rules, and when we play in atypical ways, and when we read diversity into stories and themes. This is the very first Undefined Behavior marathon, and we're all so excited to share these games and showcases with you. And I'm glad to be here. I'm always impressed with Super Metroid because I'm so bad at platformers.
We've been having a great time with the whole marathon and everyone's runs and the whole staff's, all the work they've put into it, everyone involved.
It's been
great.
Incredible.
Those were example of enemies where we'd kill them in one hit without ice, but 2 hits with ice.
Now, Mark Dan was talking there for a moment, but if you notice that getting up to Spazer was very simple once we got high jump. The problem was having to do the backwards jump into a bomb jump earlier without high jump. But with high jump, even though it makes the bomb jumping easier, you just jump right up there.
So this room is the reason why we got ice. The entire reason why we got early ice. And in vanilla, this is the room that this is the room where you're supposed to have ice to be able to do it at all.
This room, the heck way, is going to be really difficult here. Fraser is probably going to make it look a lot easier because they've had practice at this, but normally a lot of people will just hop through from platform to platform or do specific deboosting sections. But Fraser's had to learn other ways around that because you can't do anything other than the full jump height. And deboosting off of having a spin jump has your base instead of being able to just jump directly upwards changes the difficulty of all of those deboosting positions. We'll be going across the moat and the ocean here soon, which are where we need grapple for travel. Has anyone theorized about a Fantoon first route for this challenge, Reyes?
Yes, and we want nothing to do with it. So the really hard part for Fantoon first would be bowling.
What is Fantoon first, out of curiosity?
Fantoon is the upcoming boss, and the world record route for any percent kills Fantoon before Kraid.
Ah, okay. I was hearing it as Fantoon, like, you know, a remix of the song, and I was like, ooh, song remixes.
Fantoon is the elephant ghost everyone knows and loves for its giant eyeball.
Yay!
It's a bit of a meme in the community with some people that you compliment Fantoon on its giant eyeball in order to get fast patterns. So if you have any chat, throw them out and hopefully we'll get Freya some fast patterns that they can make use of.
Yeah, so getting across, to be able to do this Fantoon first, you would have to get do 2 double bomb jumps to get it, 2 diagonal bomb jumps, horizontal bomb jumps to get across the moat, and you'd have to do 4 more of them to get across the ocean, which we aren't good enough to try. And the real interesting thing would be bowling. How can you get across bowling? You'll see that later. A room with a bunch of spikes where you could be trying to get across with only a few
Only a few E-tanks.
Yeah.
There aren't very many E-tanks available without doing Kraid or some other boss first, actually.
There's one E-tank available, and people have said People in the community have said that it's possible to do bowling with just one E-tank and half A press, but we do not want to mess with that.
Might be something to see a nice task up.
You wouldn't even need a task, you just put ED up to it. Or put John up to it.
We're getting some elephant ghost emotes in chat. Elephant and ghost emotes.
But a 1+, we already even got a little bit of an air doll play there.
One of the most common tactics used on Phantoon and every other category except for low percents would be X Factors, where you only have wave beam equips and you hold charge to get a special beam attack. And you time it so that you get the equivalent of 2 super missiles damage on Phantoon. But here, that timing and positioning is really hard to do since your movement is so hindered with the jumping around and the whatnot based on the half A press. So Doppler strats worked out really well there for Freyas, and the Doppler is a specific timing to moving forward with a different specific timing to the pattern of firing missiles, such that you can actually get more than 3 missiles in at a time on Phantoon if you do it well. Normally, on that third hit, Phantoon would close its eye, and you just have to wait for the next round. And we will, of course, be skipping the dangerous spiky room of death. That you would actually see that in Hundo at this point, but that room is kind of dangerous. The folly rooms are a little bit dangerous. The E-tank there is not worth it.
It's a room where you can very easily die to death.
The moving spike platforms in the spiky room of death do 100 damage. Ooh. Right out of the gate, and it's very easy.
And as soon as this comes back up, I'll let you know. Actually, it looks like it might be back, possibly. Ah, yes, we're seeing that it is back. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry about that little blip. We should be good to keep going.
Yay!
Okay. In 3, 2, 1, go.
So this is a dangerous room here, and one of the biggest reasons that grapple is probably the last room, actually, where grapple is actually really helpful for movement, because those spikes are going to knock you backwards every time, and you're not going to be able to carry your forward jumping momentum. You see, that's a reoccurring problem in this speedrun, not being able to carry your forward movement into a jump. Those spikes do a pretty nasty amounts of damage, so it's pretty good that we have grapple to just skip right over them.
Too bad you can't just walk in the little bird thing the whole way, right?
That would be nice. The room is called Bowling because of how the Chozo is carrying Samus like a ball, and then walks through what looks like an alleyway. So with gravity, there's not very many rooms that we've had to traverse that had water. But the room with the bats, specifically, if you didn't get your jump just right, you would be in the water. It would take a little bit of timing to get out of the water using the back buffer jump. But that's not going to be an issue anymore. And Meridia's going to at least the first part of Maria is going to look a lot like you might see in an 80% run, because there's a few vertical shine sparks. One of the rooms specifically is going to be a little tricky, and it's just 2 rooms in. Normally we would wall jump off of the edge of a vertical doorway to climb up into it, but Freyas can't do that here. So we're going to have to time our shots on a fish nearby. We're going to have to get up there, up above the fish before it comes through. We're going to have to time shots on it while it's in position. Here you see in the heck way that accidental deboosting, or the no jump short of full jump height, being really tricky, causing Freyas to just constantly get knocked back into the same position where they jumped from.
That is definitely one of the hardest rooms to navigate in this, as opposed to a normal game.
And we're also not far from the most dangerous rooms in the game, because those are in Meridia as well.
The nice thing, though, is that they get knocked down, but they get back up again.
Keep the puns going. I know some people grow out at puns, but we don't. No, always say your puns, every pun, every
Keep
single
the
one.
puns
Yay! And I don't stop punning, and I don't stop punning.
Love it. So we're about to go into... Freyas is about to go into the room that we were just talking about, where they're going to try to get up really quick before the fish by using a diagonal shine spark, and then pause, then freeze that fish, rather, not pause it, freeze it in a position that will let them jump in. Ooh, a little bit to the right, but they were able to squeeze through.
We actually paused there trying to remember what to do. And now coming up here is the most important safety save of the run, because there are instant death pits before the next save.
Is 25 the ammo you'll end at? Are there other missiles that will end up being in your way that you'll pick up just because it's easier than avoiding them?
This is full ammo. The only place we
Okay.
need ammo for at this point is Mother Rain 1. And this is incredibly, incredibly safe. And we'll have a save before her anyway.
And if you're familiar with the 80% runs, you'll know that a lot of times people do horizontal shine sparks starting from midair in order to kill Dragon. Again, we're not going to be able to do those here. They're really technical. Like, it's possible to do the horizontal shine spark. It's just really difficult with the A button always being held. So, since we have grapple, Freyas is going to use that to get the grapple quick kill. And you'll see that a lot in Hundo% too.
We're astonished that last shot hit Botwoon. Botwoon has the worst hitbox in the game. It's well known for having the worst hitbox in the game.
And if you're not familiar, the reason Botwoon is considered to have the worst hitbox is every circular segment of Botwoon has its own hitbox. And you can only hit the head of the snake. So when it curls back on itself, one of those other circular segments, the hitbox, will block you from hitting the hitbox of the head.
So coming up here is a room with instant death pits. If we fall too far down there. So we have to be super careful how we handle this. There we go.
No!
So we
Looked
fell...
like Kay got into the sand there.
Yeah, we were in a turnaround animation when we hit the sand, so we just fell all the way down. And that's why the safety save was so important. Because that sort of thing is just expected to happen.
But if you're a fan of Botwoon, you get to see Botwoon again.
We get to boop the snoot again?
You do.
Yay!
Since we've seen Botwoon a moment ago, I guess it would be a good time for a blurb or donations if we have any.
Well, I can talk about the Edge Case Collective as a group, and Undefined Behavior is being put on by the Edge Case Collective, a streaming group made up of creative queers who play, build, and break games in interesting ways. You can follow them at twitch.tv/EdgeCaseCollective, all one word, for more great content. And if you're liking what you're seeing and want to support the Trevor Project and Edge Case Collective's Undefined Behavior, please feel free to donate. I would love to read any puns you have on stream, live, for you.
Send us puns.
Yes, send your best or worst puns. All puns are valid.
There's no difference. So, we're seeing some chatter. So it looks like some people are new or have come in recently. This is the A button challenge. It's inspired off of the half A press Super Mario 64 task videos, where they only press A once and keep it held. Freya is using a hack to do that for them so that they don't have to hold the button manually. That means that from start to finish, this run is entirely with the jump button held. Now, you will see Freya's jump, and you will see a few other things that require jump being done, but it's done using an existing mechanic in the game where if jump is being held while you're standing still, or flat on the ground rather, you can be moving, and you press backwards away from Samus's front, you press to the back, you're going to end up doing a jump in that direction, a spin jump specifically. So we're not going to be able to run and carry that forward momentum into jumps. We're not going to be able to do wall jumps. A lot of shine sparks are going to be really difficult, so you're only really going to see the diagonal ones. Grapple is one of the things we use to get around in some places. So, and this room that Freya's is in is especially dangerous. We've seen Freya's accidentally KO into the sand. KO is when you do a turnaround at a specific timing while you land on an enemy. It also works on the sand here, but it makes you drop faster. And the reason that's so dangerous here is the sand is constantly pulling you down, and it takes a lot of rapid jumping to get yourself out of it, which obviously we cannot do. So Freya's has made it there we go. You've made it all the way through Colosseum one way. So after Dragon, Freya's is going to skip space jump. It is not useful here. You actually cannot space jump in any way whatsoever. Just like you can't wall jump, because it requires letting go of jump button and pressing it again. The horizontal shine sparks you might see a lot of people use normally for the inefficient runs is off the table because of how difficult they are to do with this. And then after Dragon, we're going to have to go through Colosseum one more time.
It's always easier to get this if you get it when you're facing Dragon facing left. So this is harder, but definitely still doable.
Yeah, the higher up turret here that's been destroyed, the little electrical field there, is lower, so it makes the timing a little bit different. Whereas when it's facing left, it's a lot easier to just be right in front of it. And we're going to be seeing a lot of bomb jumps still, where normally people would either space jump or wall jump to get up. It's bomb jumps.
We are going to be taking a safety save after Dragon.
So we will not be seeing butt wound anymore. No more booping of the snoot.
That was an incredibly
Aw.
clean exit, Dragon exit.
You made it look pretty simple, so... So if Freya's lands on the sand and stays for more than a few frames, they're going to sink in too much to be able to jump out. So the timing for that is really tricky. They have to, when they're going to land, they need to know ahead of time, and they need to be turned so that they can jump the way they want to go. So if you pay attention, you will see that happening. And now looks like we're going to get a Metroid ice climb here. Because these aren't Metroids, they're Metroids.
We should be able to do another one to get for the last X. Ah!
No!
Oh!
You got out! You froze it. It looks like you froze it in the sand and were able to use it as a platform to stop sinking.
Yes. We had no idea that was possible. That makes us so happy.
What a nice random. That's never happened before. But in a
Marathon
good
luck.
way.
Okay, I'll start breathing again.
Yeah, that's the hardest room, movement-wise. So climbing up to Plasma is going to be even more bomb jumps. And after getting Plasma, it'll be going back down to face our favorite Space Pelican Pogo artist.
So we are going to want to farm up a bunch of health before Plasma. Just in case. Because we will be needing
Space parts in there do a good bit of damage.
And we do need to spark to get out.
Will it be one spark or two?
We believe that
No,
there's
just one.
Just one should be good.
Yeah. We were thinking for a moment there that you would have to spark. We were visualizing the room in our mind, and we were thinking you would have to spark up one way and then do a really super short charge to get spark up another way. But I think you can just jump and spark from a position up that way.
Yeah, I
towards
think
it.
so.
Okay. And here's going to be more bomb jumping because no wall jumps allowed. No space jumps allowed either.
We are super happy with getting the bomb jump off the pancake.
We saw it flying and started to hold our breath a little bit, but you know, you would just have fallen down a little bit further and been able to try again.
Pancakes.
This is Pancake
Yeah.
Tower. We're probably just going to be killing everything here. Or at least close to it.
What the community calls pancakes are those enemies that will jump up really high and then kind of float and drift back and forth left and right as they fall down.
Oh, like the one we saw.
Yeah,
It kind of like a manta ray a little bit.
yeah, it does.
Yep, the pancakes.
I think pancakes works better.
And so that's why this room is Pancake Tower.
And the pancakes are the number one thing here that will get in your way while you're climbing up. There are the other enemies that we see that they look like little worms that jump around are called puyos.
That's adorable.
I think we're making chat hungry for pancakes.
To be fair, I'm always hungry for pancakes. Like, there's never a wrong time for pancakes.
Blow up a planet and then go get some pancakes after.
Blowing up a planet is hard work. To be fair, we're not blowing up the planet. we're killing Mother Brain, and Mother Brain is in retaliation blowing up the planet.
So I guess we shouldn't be asking Mother Brain to make us pancakes then.
Yeah, I don't think Mother Brain's that kind of mother.
Sad faces.
Oh, that timing with just a few frames late there. Nice.
We messed up there because we forgot that we can't spark in the ground. We have to do we can only do mid-air sparks.
Yeah, so as a reminder, the jump for this run, the jump button is constantly being held. It's a run inspired by the Super Mario 64 tasks where you only press jump once and hold it the whole time, called a half A press. So some limitations that brings us are no wall jumps, no mock balls in most places. I think it's still possible, but it's not going to get you enough speed anywhere because of how you have to kill all your forward momentum.
Mock balls are not possible.
So there are places where do they require a certain amount of speed? Because there are places where you can jump and just hold jump to end up mock balling.
Sorry to interrupt you, but this is the other room with instant death bits. So this is like the second most dangerous room in the game, and we just made it through. Let's go.
You are making it look easy.
Mm-hmm.
So with mock
Good
balls,
job.
you need non-zero momentum, and you have to kill all your momentum.
Oh,
You kill all your momentum when you back off for a jump.
So helpful tech knowledge. So no mock balls, no wall jumps, limited shine spark usage. Diagonals are the easiest ones. Verticals are going to be good, and both of those are. Is the vertical possible from standing, or is it only from midair?
Only midair.
Okay, but the diagonals are possible in midair also, but I don't think any of them are possible from a standing position since you would have to press A to initiate it.
Yep. And with some sorcery, it is possible to do a horizontal shine spark. We have done them before, but we have not gotten them down consistently.
So, part of all of that, losing a lot of fine-tuned movement or a lot of control over movement and whatnot, makes it so that you're going to take a lot more damage in this run, and that's why Freyas has more E-tanks than normal. Oops, you probably didn't mean to shoot first there, did you?
Nope.
Freezing all of those frogs in your way.
That's something which happens. Every Super Metroid runner has done that a million times.
But because of the safeties or because of the getting things like Ice Beam and Grapple Beam in certain different times to help with the travel across rooms with all of these movement limitations, it actually makes this run a very beginner-friendly run. Like someone who hasn't played Super Metroid before but wants to learn the speedrun, this is a good way because you're getting all the things you need to help your movement, all the things you need for some extra safety, some extra missiles, some extra health. But if you're familiar with playing Super Metroid, if you've played it casually a few times, if you're really comfortable with the movement, you might actually want to start with something a little bit with a little less safeties, rather. Not a little bit extra safeties, a little less safeties.
So this is... We aren't sure how many frames you have for this, but we know that you don't have many frames. Because we can't wall jump, you have to get all the way up. Oh, yes. Yes. Last time we ran this in a marathon, we died several times trying to get that, so that is really, really good that we managed to get that so cleanly.
Nice.
So what we saw there was a gravity jump, and you'll see that in some other categories. You'll see it in some randos, but the timing here is a lot more tricky since we can't wall jump out of it. And the way the gravity jump works is you jump. The pause and the jump all take place around the same time, but when you pause, there's a little bit of timing in between hitting the button and where your control over Samus stops. So you pause, and then you time it. So just before you lose control, you jump. Or in this case, for Freya's, you do that. You press back, so you get that back buffer jump in, and then you get that initial jump momentum from having gravity suit on. But when you've paused, take it off, and you get the underwater physics without gravity suit, so that your momentum carries you a lot farther. It is easy to do a gravity jump with a little bit of practice. It's hard to get the timing that specific for that specific gravity jump. But if you play randos, you can actually do some simple gravity jumps pretty easy in certain places. So here, this is one of the bomb jumps where we got to be careful about the Namahe there, and Freyas gets past it just fine. The next room is Amphitheater. You would normally see people just base jump completely through this room. No problem, piece of cake. If you're familiar with the low percents, it'll be a little similar to that. Oh no, you got... Okay, Freya's got a little trap there, so they're going a little... They got stuck. The lava's rising a little bit. There's these pirates, you also got to be careful about which way they're facing, because they will hit you and knock you down further. But again, you know, a lot of times people just space jump right through this room. We can't do that. Space jump isn't something we can use even if we pick it up. Good job, you got through. Are you going to pick up Firefly for safety? Okay. Will you be picking up the Ridley tank after Ridley?
We're definitely grabbing the Ridley tank.
Okay. Yeah, we just assumed you might want to grab it for safety or to not have to farm any help.
We think we'd have to bomb jump out of Firefly.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right about that. You could probably freeze some of the Fireflies, though.
We might...
Actually.
Yeah, we could... Actually, if we freeze 2 of the Fireflies, we could probably get out without that.
Because of the claw hand that's in the map layout there, we think just freezing the one that circles the platform, the left side platform, would be able to
This is actual
get you
RNG
out.
minute right here, and we missed it. The hopper... We're trying to get the hopper to jump high so it wouldn't hit us. But that happens.
So, Metal Pirate's coming up right now. One of the more common things here that you'll see is okay, Freya's is still doing one of the fairly common ones. Nice little diagonal downward shot there. Didn't expect that. Most people will do Shine Sparks at a specific timing to kill those, or do the run under them and shoot them from behind thing while they're in their jump kick animation. Or just jump and shoot downwards while they're in that jump kick animation again. The timing's a little bit difficult though because of the restrictions on all the jumping and movement that Freyas has to deal with.
We're gonna play this super safe and actually farm up.
I guess that makes it a good time if you have any donations or some plugs or whatnot. Incentive plugs.
We did have some donations come in. We have $30 from Wandering Mind, who says, Wandering Mind here. Thank you so much for having me on here last night. Here's $10 for each time I used a code in my run. You're all wonderful people. Thank you for that. And we have $20 from Danstad. Says Danstad has a joke. 10 other groovers I know attempted to submit a winning joke for a contest. Unfortunately, they were not winners. No pun intended. Alright, I'm better at grooving than joking. Let the monkeys take over for jokes and sounds instead of for TGM. Keep grooving, y'all. Thank you for that. It was glorious.
Yes, thank you, Deadstad. So, a lot of the Ridley fight is probably not that much more difficult than it is normally, because there's a lot of barely moving or just full jump heights anyway.
Oh no, this is way harder than it normally is.
Oh,
I can
really?
feel it.
You can tell we haven't run this category ourselves, chat. It's a little intimidating.
If this was a normal fight, we'd be definitely trying to get damage less. Versus this time we took 3 E-tanks of damage.
Ow.
It's really cool that you get to pick up Ridley drops like that. We don't think there's any other category where you would ever do that. And now, unfortunately, we're gonna have to bomb jump out of Ridley's lair.
You could do that in GT, different GT things, because after the GT code, you would have grapple.
It's true.
RBO?
By that point, we're normally just trying to get out the door as fast as possible.
That's fair. RBO is actually useful.
Getting those drops didn't seem like it took that much time. But, you know.
Oh no, it didn't take very much time. Grapple can pick up items, which is really cool.
Oh, like the hook shot.
Yeah, like the hook
Yeah.
shot.
Yay!
So at this point, all 4 of the main bosses are down. The Golden 4 statue is going to be ready for us to let us into Turian. You're going to get to see a really neat trick that you don't get to see anywhere else, I think, which is... What? Didn't you say they started using this for hundo items for as the grapple zep skip? Okay. We haven't seen that used yet, but would really like to. That positioning you had there was just a little bit off to let you land, and just a little bit off to let you, because it was frozen, you couldn't get pushed up any. So that was interesting to watch Samus just do a little dance there.
There's always time for dancing.
So we're going to be working our way out through the lower North Freyasspirit, and I think there's only really one room here that's going to be especially noticeably different coming up, where you would normally just space jump through a bunch of the rooms and avoid a lot of the lava, the Three Musketeers room. But Freya is going to have to take some of the acid damage and just jump through it all. Was that deboost off the spikes at the seahorses? Was that intentional or accidental?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Not something we practiced, just something we thought. We were just looking at the room right now and saying that looks good. And if we deboosted high rather than if we'd not gotten knockback high rather than knockback low, it would have worked and it would have been really good. So a lot of this is definitely since we haven't actually grinded out, since we haven't spent a lot of time researching room strats, a lot of this is kind of making stuff up on the spot. That looks good.
It just proves how much knowledge of the game you have that you can come up with the strategies off the cuff.
Makes you wonder what some of the, you've mentioned ED earlier, who is known for being able to do almost every trick that anyone has been able to prove possible. And makes you wonder if they put their effort into making a run of this, what kind of strats they would come up with.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, ED doesn't speedrun, but maybe we can convince ED to make a theory test of this or something.
Well, if they put their mind to it, they can still come up with some cool strats, not necessarily having to run it, but...
We believe that ED has done one run of this.
Did they, did ED theorize any neat strats for specific rooms?
We have no idea.
This means Dee Dee needs to do it again.
Get ED to do more of these, get Nutella to do more of these, get everybody to do more of these.
Mhm.
Get
We're gonna
everybody in
have to
chat
pick
to
this
do
up
more
at
of
some
these.
point. Come on, chat. We're definitely gonna have to try one of these.
I definitely have some friends that I want to pass this on to because I think they'd really enjoy it. Or combine this with the rando or something.
Ooh,
Combining with a rando would be really interesting.
that's a thought. We would need completely different item placement logic for that than a lot of the other randomizers use.
I'll just place the items and no logic and have fun.
That would be similar to the old Desi randos.
One day
For-
for one of
for-
the
Go ahead.
the next one of these, we'd love to submit Super Metroid Door randos, which just have no logic whatsoever, because it'd be a good time.
For those uninformed, Desi Rept, a member of the Super Metroid community, made one of the first randos for this game that I'm aware of, and it was a little rough. It didn't have a lot of the modern safeties like we have in a lot of the other randos of soft lock preventions by changing some of the blocks here or changing blocks there, and it actually required some pretty hard tricks. So that's how we learned to play Super Metroid on too.
And Desi randos, there's even at one point there's even a hard lock where where you can save the game and just ruin your save file. So we definitely appreciate the changes that have been made since in randos to like make them more accessible.
More accessible, more fun to play, because that just, you put time into something and then it hard locks and you have to start all the way back at the beginning. Just doesn't sound like a really good time.
It's a good time.
Sometimes the risk of soft lock and hard lock make it more exciting and fun though, when you're playing with friends at least. We definitely have raced it a few times with Freya's and some other friends. And it's just, all about having a good time together while laughing at what you get yourself into.
I guess this is true. I play Beyond Chaos, so I guess I shouldn't say anything about random weird things happening during the run.
Got a little bit of time here for the Golden Force statue, if we have any more donations.
Let's see, I believe we do. We have an anonymous $15 donation with no comment, but thank you for that. And I believe we still have some time left in the run if you'd like to hear any puns, so if you donate towards that, I will read them happily. Or if you just want to share a rando story. All donations are valid.
So if you've seen the Super Metroid speedrun that ends in Turian, which is most of them. There's few that don't, but most of them you go through Turian, you do the whole and fight with Mother Brain, and you save or don't save the animals. So you've probably seen this section a few times. It's going to look a little different though because of all the movement restrictions we keep talking about. Freya's cannot carry forward momentum into a jump because of the jump button always being held. The only way to jump is by pressing backwards, which kills all that momentum. So that makes some of these rooms a little bit more challenging. If you've been here for most of the run, you got to see the most dangerous rooms already. But coming up, you get to see one of the coolest tricks that we've seen in a good while, and that's using Grapple Beam to do a Zeb skip.
Okay, that was us almost dying because of the half-A press stuff. We aren't used to getting the Metroids off of us under half-A press conditions, so we're really glad that we didn't die there.
That would have been a long setback to just after Dragon.
Oh no. And we got full supers. That was almost a mess.
So, baby skip would be something that some of those some people like we keep bringing up ED, but some people like ED would probably be able to figure out a way that baby skip is possible. But you're probably not even going to try. Yeah, I see you starting to damage down off of the hopper. Okay.
You could probably get You could probably do the Shine Spark baby skip. But trying to get a Shine Spark to there is not something we've ever done. Not something we probably ever want to do.
Not to mention the horizontal Shine Spark is pretty difficult to pull off with the half A press.
That is true. Sounds perfect for ED.
Am I weird for thinking little brain sucker things are really kind of cute?
You're not.
Metroids?
Yeah.
Oh, those are absolutely cute.
Our
Okay.
favorite emote is a Q-troid, as we call it.
Aww.
We've made a few different Metroid emotes for people in the community, but that one we made for ourselves, and we love it. The little Q-troid, because it's the baby.
Aww. It's adorable.
We managed to find I don't know if it's a collectible. I just haven't seen it anywhere before, but it's a like a Metroid toy, and there's lights in the box around it to shine on it, and it looks really neat. It's a pretty nice size. It's not a plush, so it's like plasticky and has the clear texture and stuff to it.
Okay, so the Zeb skip is coming up here. If you want to talk about that. First try!
All we know is you got to get that Rika frozen, and again, it happens so fast we barely see what's happening.
So grapple is absolutely necessary for that one.
So you have to get in there, you have to get that jump going, get the damage boost, or take damage rather, not necessarily damage boost, and shoot downward to freeze that Rinka as it spawns at the bottom, while switching to grapple, getting into position again, and using grapple at the right time to pull yourself through. That's a lot of button presses in a very short amount of time.
Yep, and we absolutely had to do a piano grip for there. 4 fingers on the 4 face buttons. Because you need to, because you're in Hundo item, you're hitting it with all 4 buttons at once.
Pretty sure to understand what's happening with all of that, like to visually understand what's happening, we're gonna have to watch it in slow-mo at 60 frames per second somewhere.
Or have a controller cam or something.
Maybe understand a little bit of that with what's going on, but it's just happening so fast on screen, you know?
Yeah.
And with retro games like Super Nintendo, NES era stuff, if you're streaming at 30 frames per second, like Freya's does, then some of those damaging effects just make you completely invisible sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're running alternating frames to make a flashing effect, and we're only getting half the frames, so we just get the invisible Samus frames.
So to go into more detail about how the Zeb skip works, you have to do a down back, and then freeze the Rinka at the right time, which gets you stuck in there. And normally from there you would jump up, which is how they do it in any percent. But within the last year or two, there's a new trick found where you can actually shoot grapple, and it'll just teleport you straight up. And that is the only way it's possible to Zeb skip in half A press.
That's fascinating. Like, we got into Super Metroid around the same time as you, about 2.5-3 years ago, and like Moonfall was a tech that was recently discovered then, and since then, there like every year there's new tech discovered, new ways around things. The rando community found that way through Frog Speedway from right to left. You know, then this was found recently. So it's surprising that a game that is 25 years old, or more than actually, right? It was 94? 25 years old game is we're still discovering new ways to break the boundaries in it, or to use its existing boundaries in different ways.
It is absolutely amazing. So we're gonna need a call on save and kill the animals, and with our pause timer during the technical difficulties, we are in world record pace right now.
Ooh. Sorry, 1 second, trying to find the,
We did have a short technical difficulty earlier, and Freya's did pause for a moment to help everyone, to let the tech crew sort that out. And they got to it pretty quick, and then restarted. Luckily, Super Metroid is not that picky about like we know with some categories or with some runs in some games, they would have to disqualify the run because of that pause timer.
right.
But Super Metroid is not that worried about it, or not that picky about it, I guess.
I am not
Oh
seeing
no!
it.
Missed the shine spark. What was that, Margaret?
I was going to say, I don't see any polls or anything for save or...
Okay, awesome. We're gonna kill then, so we can get the world record.
Yay!
Hopefully.
Yeah, we don't remember seeing any incentives for that. Which goes along with the whole theme of this, of doing things differently. It's
Exactly.
pretty, like, every time Super Metroid's in a marathon, there's a save kill incentive, but there's still another Super Metroid run coming up later today, right?
I believe so, yes. That is
Ooh,
correct.
we actually got up.
So,
Yay!
so maybe we'll get a chance to save the animals there, because saving the animals is the right call, especially for a marathon that's focused on benefiting an organization like the Trevor Project, which literally helps save lives.
Exactly. We are, however, working on saving Samus's life right now, so...
Oh, she's fine. She's got plenty of time.
And time in a
Time
second.
is coming up.
And time. So our own timer that we paused during technical difficulties says that we got a world record by 1 minute and 3 seconds.
Nice.
That's fantastic.
So this
GG.
is likely a real world record, even with the pause for technical difficulties. So thank you for the GGs.
Were you local recording?
We were not local recording, unfortunately, but
Oh,
the Super Metroid
it'll make it
community
harder
doesn't
to
care.
retime
The
it.
Super Metroid community is really, really generous about this, and
We were just thinking about the retiming it using the local recording.
we still haven't even convinced them to give us a leaderboard yet for this. So everybody should run this category so we can get a real leaderboard for this.
Do it! You heard it here, everyone.
Bye, animals. I hope to see you later. GG on that run, Freyas. That was really good.
126.50 is what we have.
Nice. Thanks for asking us to come and commentate with you.
Thank you for commentating. You did a great job, especially with telling us where to go. Because we have a huge habit of going the wrong way in these.
Yeah, muscle memory, when you're doing a non-standard run, the muscle memory is real killer. So, I will go ahead and sign off. But again, thank you, Freya. Thanks, UCC, for putting this on. Tuesday, and Margaret for being great host. And let me look real quick. Who is our restreamer? Was it Rubash? Did I see that right? No. Is it Meg? Thank you, Meg, and everyone else for all the work you've done behind the scenes.
Thank you so much. This has been such a wonderful time, and we're super happy to show off this run wherever we can.
And I know we're definitely happy to have had you both come in and play this for us, commentate, show off the really awesome things. So,
And we are just about to the Deer Force, so get your Deer Forces in chat ready. Get your Deer Forces ready.
Here it comes.
Deer Force!
Deer Force.
yay!
Thank you so much for having us. This is a wonderful time. Thank you to thank you to hosts or restreamers, everybody who worked behind the scenes to put this on. Thank you so much. And with that, we will see you next mission.
So thank you again to Freyasspirit and Starzens for that amazing Super Metroid A button challenge run. And thank you for the donations that have come in so far. We are getting really close to another stretch goal that I wanted to remind you of. At $7,680, Dijon will learn live on stream the Final Fantasy IV Quality of Life Paladin % run, which we're not actually that far off, only about $130. So if you get some donations in, you too could watch Dijon learn Final Fantasy IV Quality of Life Paladin % on stream. Next, coming up, we have Amethyst Rux playing Grand Poo World 2, the 80% good ending. So, stay tuned for that. Yes. And I want to remind you that if we meet our overall goal, which is $8,192 for the Super Metroid co-op run, we will pet the animals. Not just save, but give them all of the love. So please, donate. Pet the animals.
Please, chat, save the animals.
Pet the animals.
Save them. Save
Pet
and
the
pet.
Decoras. Let the Edacoons die because they did not teach us how to weld when we were a kid.
They tried. They tried. They deserve to live.
They're good. They're good, just like all the ECC people.
Oh.
And with
Looks
that,
like I misunderstood that. Megan Chat is saying that we're saving them either way. It's just whether or not to pet them. So, yay!
We love animals here. Animals are amazing.